and welcome back to Mallika's English class. So I hope you all have gone through all the previous episodes of subject-verb agreement, and I'm sure you must have cleared all your doubts by now. So today what we are going to do, as discussed in my previous class, that we are going to talk about indefinite pronouns. What are indefinite pronouns? That's what we are going to understand, and we are also going to understand when we write a sentence, how do we treat indefinite pronouns? What kind of verbs do we use with indefinite pronouns? And how we are going to follow the subject-verb agreement while making sentences with indefinite pronouns. So let's check out. Now on the screen, what you can see is that it is written that we need to check for indefinite pronouns in a sentence if we have to find out if the verb has been put correctly, or if we need to put in a verb as per our choice, whether we need to put a singular verb or a plural verb. So first, let us understand which are the indefinite pronouns that we are talking about. So right now, for the sake of understanding subject-verb agreement, we are talking about indefinite pronouns like either, neither, each, everyone, everyone, or none. So these are indefinite pronouns also. Some of them can be treated as determiners. That's what we discussed in the previous class. But besides that, we can also treat them as indefinite pronouns, like either, neither, each can be treated as indefinite pronouns also. Along with that, everyone, everyone, or none. These are followed by a singular verb if the subject is singular. When either, neither, each, all these are used alone, or they replace a noun altogether. Okay, so now we are going to understand what are indefinite pronouns. How do we distinguish? Because these words like either, neither, each are used as determinants also. But in a sentence, if either, neither, each are used alone, or they replace a noun altogether. Okay, so instead of the noun, they are placed. Or maybe the nouns are there, and after that, these words come. When these words precede a prepositional phrase, then we have to understand that these words are used as indefinite pronouns. Okay, like just read it out loud. When either, neither, each are used alone and replace the noun, or precede a prepositional phrase, they act as indefinite pronouns. We are going to see examples of that very soon. However, now this is what we said, that when they are used with a singular noun or when they replace a singular noun, then these indefinite pronouns will take singular verbs. But if one of the subjects is plural, along with the indefinite pronoun and the noun associated with it, if we put another subject, then obviously if that subject is plural, then we are going to take a plural verb. Okay, this is something which is common, which we have learned in the previous classes also. So let's see some examples how we are using indefinite pronouns. Now check out these two sentences. Neither of the kids is naughty. What does this mean? This means there are two kids, and we want to say that no one of them, not this one or that one, is naughty. In a negative sense, we are saying that he is not naughty, even he is not naughty, or she is not naughty, and even he is not naughty. That's what we are trying to say, but we say it in a very compact sentence where we say neither of the kids is naughty. Now, just as I said here, mark these words which are written in green. Of the kids. Now, of the kids is a prepositional phrase, because we just learned that if we have a prepositional phrase and the pronoun, the indefinite pronoun that we are talking about, precedes the prepositional phrase, then we have to understand that it is an indefinite pronoun. At the same time, we are going to take a singular verb. Now, there could be a confusion that we are saying neither of the kids. We are talking about kids. This is kids is a plural subject. Then why are we taking is, which is a singular verb? Now to make it easier for you, what I will suggest, you just remove the prepositional phrase of the kids from the sentence. Take it out from the sentence and then try to answer the question. If this had not been there, then the sentence would be neither dash naughty. So neither is a word which takes a singular verb. We know it. So therefore it has to be neither is or was naughty. According to the tense of the sentence, we are going to put a singular verb. Okay? So let us see another example. Neither of the parents is ready to join. So why have we put in is here if you are using parents here? Again, in a similar way, this is of the parents is a prepositional phrase. Therefore, neither is an indefinite pronoun. Now, we know that if there is a prepositional phrase, we need to take it out and try to answer the question. If we take off the parents out, then we can see that neither is an indefinite pronoun and it will definitely take a singular verb. Therefore, we have put is. And it also means, if you understand the meaning, then also we are talking about two parents. And individually, we want to mean none of the parents were present. Okay, so in a compact way, if we have to say, we are saying neither of the parents. The mom was not present. The father was also not present. That is what we want to say. But we are using neither here, and therefore we have to use a singular verb. And remember, this is an indefinite pronoun because this word neither precedes a prepositional phrase. Let's move on and check another sentence. Now check the sentence. We just discussed that in case we are using it with a singular noun, then we are going to use a singular verb. But what if there is another plural noun? This is an example. Neither of my daughters nor my sons. Here we are using neither nor, but neither nor is used as what? Is it used as an indefinite pronoun? It looks like an indefinite pronoun, yes, this portion, but then it is being used as a conjunction because nor is also there. So what we are trying to say here is I have two daughters, none of my daughters. So neither of my daughters. Out of the two daughters, none of them. Neither of my daughters. If we didn't have this portion, nor my sons, then the sentence would be neither of my daughters looks alike, because we know that in this case, we have to use a singular verb. We take out of my daughters, we keep neither, and neither will take a singular verb. But we have added a conjunction here, and we are talking about my sons also. I'm not only talking about my daughters, I'm also talking about my, not a singular son, but I'm talking about sons. So I might be having two or more sons. So naturally, because this is plural, the verb will take plural, because we understood in the earlier sections also that if there is a plural subject near the verb, then the verb has to be plural. Okay, let's take another example. Neither of my parents nor my teachers. Again, the same kind of a sentence where I'm talking about my parents. So parents means a pair, father and mother. I'm talking about my father and my mother, both, in a negative sense that they are not there or they are not fine with something. None of them. So neither of my parents, and along with that, I'm putting in a conjunction and I'm saying my teachers. So I'm saying it is not only that my parents, but my teachers also. That is the meaning of the sentence. So neither of my parents nor my teachers. Now, when I'm saying my teachers, when I'm adding in with a conjunction some more information, I'm saying my teachers are also not fine. So definitely when a plural subject is added, then the verb will become plural. Just like here, we have added are fine with my handwriting. So that means, what does this sentence mean? That none of them, neither my parents nor my teachers, are fine with my handwriting. Okay, let's move on. Let's take another example. Another indefinite pronoun is either. Now, just understand why we can use either as an indefinite pronoun. That we are going to talk about it. But first, let us understand what do we mean by either. When we are talking about either, we want to say that we are talking about two persons here and we want to mean one of them. Okay, so in this sentence also, either of the friends takes the blame. Why have we used takes here? Because there are two friends. Out of that, we want to say one of them takes the blame. So we are not saying that both are taking the blame. We are saying that one of them, that is either one of the two, takes the blame. That's the reason why we have used the verb in singular. Also, now let us understand why do we say that either is used as an indefinite pronoun here. That is because either can stand alone. Now, just like I said in the previous example, take out of the friends, take out the prepositional phrase of the friends and check if the sentence means something. We take this out, whatever will be remaining, it will be either takes the blame. So we often say like that. We often use sentences like that, either takes the blame, where it is understood who we are talking about. Therefore, either can stand alone, therefore it is an indefinite pronoun. And either will take, though we have friends here, if you remove this prepositional phrase, we can understand very clearly that we have to use a singular verb. Let us take another example. Either of the families is responsible. Here again, can you tell me, why have we taken a singular verb? I give you a few seconds to relate it with the previous example. I'm sure you can get it. That again, we are talking about two families here and we want to mean one of them. Therefore, we have used a singular verb here. And if we remove this of the family's prepositional phrase from here, then either is responsible, stands alone. Therefore, we will take it, we will understand that this is an indefinite pronoun and the verb will be singular because either is there. Let's check another example. Now we are using another indefinite pronoun, which is each. Now, what's the difference between either and each? Either we use when we are talking about two person, two object, or anything, two. And out of that, we want to mean one of them. But each always means that we are talking about every individual singularly, individually in the context. Whoever we are talking about, if there is a group of people, if there are 4, 5 people or 100 people, we want to mean each individual there. Therefore, again, we know that each always takes a singular verb. But in this sentence, the confusion, again, like either also, the confusion might come because players is mentioned here. Doesn't matter. Just take out the prepositional phrase from here and check whether this each stands alone. Each is an expert. We can always say like that. Each is an expert. If we know that we are talking about a player, therefore, we can say that each is an expert. And obviously, each we know that takes a singular verb. Therefore, it will also take a singular verb. Next, another example, similar example. Each of the teams plays well. What are we talking about? Are we talking about the members of the team or are we talking about multiple teams here? Can you tell me? Think a bit and answer this question. When we say each of the teams plays well, obviously we are not talking about the members of the team. We have clearly understood that there are multiple teams out and we want to say that we are referring to each team individually and we want to say plays well. Each team plays well, or we can say each of the teams plays well. Okay? Let's move on. Now we are going to see an example where there is a little twist. Let us understand how it is. Read this sentence. Either of the boys or their sisters are guilty. Now we know that either is used when we are talking about two individual or two objects or whatever. Here, either is used before boys. That means clearly there are two boys. Now we want to say one of the two boys. What does this sentence mean? First, we are trying to understand. Either of the boys means there are two boys, out of that one. And after that, we are using, mark this, we are using a conjunction or here. And after that, we are adding another noun, which is a plural noun. We are also saying one of the boys or their sisters. Now, sisters is plural. Both the boys may be having 2, 3 sisters. So we want to mean one of the boys or their sisters are guilty. Why have we taken are here? We have just learned that when we use either of the something, we use singular. But why are we using plural here? That is because we have added in a conjunction here or, and we have added another plural subject here. We have learned previously that if we have a plural subject added into the sentence, then we have to consider that plural subject, and that plural subject should be placed just before the plural verb. Therefore, we have used are here. Okay, I hope you have understood now. Let's take another example. What does this sentence mean? Each of the members and their wives, and need, we have this need is a verb because there is no s to it. It is a plural verb. So why have we used need here? Why have we used a plural verb here? Let's understand this sentence. Each of the members means there are multiple members. Say it might be a club. There are multiple members. We are talking about every individual member here. So if the sentence had been like this, each of the members, then it would be needs. If this particular thing and their wives had not been there in the sentence, then it would have taken a singular verb because we are talking about every individual member. But in this sentence, we have again added in a conjunction, that is and after that we have added in a plural subject, a plural noun, which is wives. We want to mean that every individual member and along with that and their wives. We mean plural people here, plural persons. Therefore, we have taken a plural verb. So the bottom line is, if we add in a conjunction and we add in more plural subjects, then we have to consider the plural subjects, and accordingly the verb has to be changed. It cannot be singular anymore. It has to be plural. But if we don't have these conjunctions, if we don't add any plural subject, then these types of sentences like either of the boys is guilty will be the right sentence. Each of the members needs to be present. Just because we have added in conjunctions and plural subjects, therefore we have changed the verbs to plural. Okay? Okay. Now let's move on. Let's see another example. Now in this sentence, they each have their own car. Can you tell me, what is have here? Have is the verb here. We all know that have is a plural verb. Which is the singular version of have? Has is the singular version. Now, we have used each. We know that each takes a singular verb. But why in this sentence we have used have? Why haven't we used has here? They each has their own car. We could have used that. Why didn't we do that? There's a clear logic to it. We know that the subject must agree with the verb. Now, which is the subject here? First, let us understand the subject. The subject is not each. Each is something, each is a pronoun, which is qualifying the subject. The subject is they here. Okay? So, they is the subject. They is a plural subject. Therefore, we have taken a plural verb here. We have taken each here after they. Now, that is this is a pronoun here. Each is a pronoun here, which comes after they. And because they is a plural subject, we have taken a plural verb here. And we have also taken a plural pronoun, another pronoun here, their. We are not saying his, because this subject is they. Therefore, accordingly, we have to change the pronoun. Now, for example, they had not been there. They had not been there. This is again a very, funny sentence. But yes, of course, if we remove they from here, if the sentence had been each, then we have to say each has his own car. Because the subject is not they. The subject means singular. Subject becomes each. That means we are referring to individual person again. Then the sentence would become each has his own car. But because they has been introduced in the beginning, this is the subject. Therefore, we have to change all the pronouns and verbs to plural. Let us say another example. We each need to cooperate. Again, it is similar to the sentence. Each is there, but we have not used a singular verb here. Why? Because subject is we. Subject is not each. Each is qualifying the subject. Each is something that is denoting the subject as a pronoun. Now, when we are saying we, when we have introduced we here, we have to take a plural verb. Suppose we remove we. We is not there. In that case, what will happen? Each needs to cooperate, because then each becomes the subject. Each means singular person we are referring to. Therefore, at that point of time, we have to take needs. Needs is a singular verb. I hope you are understanding. In case, again, I'm telling you, again, if there is any confusion, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible with multiple examples. Now, still then, if you might be having some issues, that's not a problem. You're having issues means you're trying to understand. That's what I believe. So, in case you have problems, please comment so that I can reply back to you, make it easier for you. I will give my best to make it easier for you. I can promise you that. Okay? Let's move on. See another way which we can write the same sentence. In this sentence, they each have their own car. Now, look at the other sentence. I'm just explaining what I explained in the previous slide. Each of them, this is another sentence, each of them has his or her own purpose. Why again? Why have we, in this sentence, each is there, we have used a plural verb. But in this sentence, each is there, we have used a singular verb. Why? I just explained. In the first sentence, there is a subject, therefore it will take a plural verb. And each is being used as something that is qualifying they. It is telling more about them. We are actually trying to say every individual person in that group. But again, whatever we want to mean, there is a subject. But in this sentence, this is like the typical indefinite pronoun subject where each is used, and after that there is a prepositional phrase which is of them. And after that, we have used a singular verb because each here is the subject. And if we remove of them from here, from the sentence, then what happens? Each has his or her purpose. This is something which we discussed in the previous slide. Let us take another example. We each need to cooperate. We discussed this in the previous slide. But this particular sentence we can change, and we can also say each of us. But when we are saying each of us, then we don't remain the subject. Each becomes the subject. Therefore, we have changed the subject to singular because each is a singular subject. Okay? That is how we change the verb according to the way we use, according to the subject. So it is very important. In the very first class, I told you that identifying the subject is the most important thing. So do it properly and try to understand which is the thing or which is the person we are talking about, which is the main thing. And then it'll be like a piece of cake for you. It'll not be a very difficult topic for you. Let us understand one more thing. I just wanted to point this out. When we were talking about this, each of them has his or her own purpose. Just like I said, that we must change the pronoun. If the subject is plural, then the pronoun has to be plural also. In this case, we have used each of them has his or her own purpose. But this was something which we used to write before, in earlier times. But nowadays, we write each of them has their own purpose because it obviously matches the plurality of the pronoun. At the same time, we are moving towards gender neutrality. Therefore, we are accepting it wholeheartedly. Therefore, we should mention each of them has their own purpose. That is also another way we can look at it. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Let's see another example. Look at this sentence. The apples are each rupees 50. This is also another type of sentence which is similar to the previous sentences. But here, instead of they and we have used a noun altogether. And which is the subject in this particular sentence? We have used each, but we have used a plural verb. Why have we used a plural verb here? Because the subject is the apples. The subject is not each. We mean the apples are, and each of them is rupees 50. When we say each of them, each of the apples is rupees 50. But here the apples comes first and the main subject is the apples. Okay? Therefore, we have used plural verb here. The apples are each rupees 50. Now, if we write the same sentence and change it a bit, we can also say each is rupees 50. But when each becomes a subject, then the verb also becomes is, which is a singular subject. Now, let us see another example. Mom and dad each deserve respect. This is another example where the nouns are put first and after that the pronoun is put. So when we are talking about mom and dad, we are talking about two persons. This is a plural noun. This is a plural subject. Therefore, we have taken a plural verb deserve. We are not using deserves here. But if we had not added mom and dad here, if we just know that we are talking about mom and dad, and we just say each, we say, begin the sentence with each, and we say each, what do we say? Deserve or deserve? Respect. What do we say? Each becomes the subject here. Therefore, we will take deserves. Each deserves respect. But when we add mom and dad in the beginning, then we have to consider that as a subject. Mom and dad as a subject. Therefore, mom and dad each deserve respect. Okay, now let us see another type of indefinite pronoun, which is none. Now, none is a type of an indefinite pronoun which can take both singular and plural verbs. How can it take? So remember one thing, when we are using none with countable nouns, then we take a plural verb. But when noun is taken, noun is written with an uncountable verb, then we take a singular verb. Why does it happen? Let us understand how it happens. So when we are talking about none of the students, what do we mean? We mean there are many students and we are talking about every student in that room. We are talking about all the students put together and we are saying it in a negative sense that they were not present. Okay? So we are talking about all the students here and every student we are talking about. So all the students in a negative way, we are not saying they were present, we are saying they were not present. It's another way of saying they were not present is none of the students were present. And students is a countable noun. Now understand this sentence, none of the water is undrinkable. What do we mean here? We mean that there is some water. We could be talking about a river or a lake or maybe a glass of water. But here, when none is used with an uncountable noun, we mean every fraction of that subject, every fraction of that noun we want to mean. So if there is water, we want to mean every fraction of that water is not undrinkable. In this sentence, we are trying to say that water, that entire water, the water that you're seeing, every fraction, if you take every fraction of it, is not undrinkable. That means it is drinkable. So negative, negative. None is there and undrinkable is there. Negative, negative becomes positive. So we want to say that it is drinkable. And remember, because water here, we can't count water. Water is uncountable. Therefore, it will take a singular verb. Okay. Let us see another example. None of the boys are participating. Again, see, we are talking about boys, which is countable, and definitely it is going to take a plural verb, just like we discussed before. Now, if you're talking about this, none of this is your business. So what is this here? This is again a pronoun. We are talking about something. Okay. And we are referring to it as this. And that particular thing, you cannot say that thing is countable. Okay. You can't. So it could be some issue. It could be some issue. I might be going through some issue and I want to tell a person, this is not your business. So instead of saying this is not your business, I can say not any part of this is your business. I can also say none of this is your business. And because this is another uncountable pronoun, therefore we are using a singular verb here, because the rule says that none with an uncountable noun or pronoun will take a singular verb, and none with countable noun or pronoun will take a plural verb. Okay, let's move on. Let us see another example. None of the committees seems to agree. Now, what do we mean by this? None of the committee seems to agree. We have taken a singular verb here. Why have we taken a singular verb here? Now see, when we are talking about the committee, again, we are talking about something, the committee as a whole cannot be counted. It is a whole thing. And when we want to say, when we are saying none of the committee, we are referring to the members of the committee. And we are talking about every part of the committee. That includes the members. So therefore, we have taken a singular verb because we want to say that not any person, every part of, if you consider each and every part of the committee, there is no one that seems to agree. Therefore, none of the committee seems to agree will take a singular verb. Now, just think, none of the committees, when this becomes committees, what does it mean? Committees means there are multiple committees, and we are talking about all the committees, and we want to say the committees don't seem to agree. So the committees, if there are multiple committees, obviously that is countable, right? And then if we use none with it, then this verb will obviously become plural, because committees is here. We have mentioned committees, which is countable. Therefore, none of the committees seem to agree. Well, I know this could be a lot, but I think slowly your doubts are getting cleared off with the multiple examples that we are discussing. And whatever we are discussing, we are giving logic to it. So I think you should be able to follow it further also. We are just a few minutes left. Let's move on. Let us see what are the other indefinite pronouns that take singular verb. Now just understand, everyone, everyone, everybody, everything, all these indefinite pronouns will always take a singular verb. Always they will take a singular verb. Okay. Now can you tell me one thing? What is the difference between everyone put together and when we write every with a gap and then one? What is the meaning? What is the difference between the two? Let me give you an idea of it. So when we are talking about everyone, which is a single word with no gap, we mean everyone put together. Okay? And when we mean every space one, we mean every single person. Okay? So everyone wants to dance, whichever way we write, it doesn't matter. But everyone without a gap means all the people in the room want to dance. The way we want to portray that all the people together or everyone wants to dance. But when we say every space one, we mean every individual people in the room wants to dance. Okay, that is the only difference. But in the usage of verbs, it will not change because both of them take singular verbs. Okay, let's see some examples of how we can use everyone, everybody, and all. See, in this sentence, everyone, you can use everyone or everybody, whichever you want, seems to agree with the idea. It will always take a singular verb. Seems, it has taken seems with an S, a seam with an S, which is singular. Another example, everything in this world goes through a change. So everything, we want to say every individual thing in the world goes through change. Again, goes is a singular verb. Some more indefinite pronouns, someone, somebody, or nobody. Even they take singular verbs. Just remember, these everyone, everybody, nobody, somebody, someone, all of them take singular verbs. Okay? Let's see some examples. Someone or somebody has arrived at the door. What do we mean by someone, somebody? We definitely mean a single person. Okay, we don't know who is there. Someone has arrived at the door. We don't know at that point of time. We are just thinking that there is someone. After opening the door, we might see there are 4 people. That doesn't matter. But we want to say someone has arrived or somebody has arrived. That means someone is there. So when we say one, someone, or body, somebody, that means what? A single person has arrived. It will take a singular verb. Again, nobody. Nobody means every single person. Nobody cares about the planet. So when we say nobody cares about the planet, it means I, it means you, it means others, all of us. We are talking about all of us, but individually. We are not saying all of us put together. We say nobody cares about the planet. We don't use care. We don't use a plural verb here. We use a singular verb because nobody is a singular subject. Okay? Okay, great. Now let's move on to collective nouns. So we all know what are collective nouns. So a group of nouns put together are sometimes given a separate name. Okay, so let's understand what do we have to learn about collective nouns and a subject-verb agreement. So collective nouns generally take singular verbs. This is the thumb rule, generally. But there's a generally word here, so that means there are exceptions. So what is the exception? It also depends on whether the collective noun indicates a single unit or refers to individuals in the group. So if there's a group, if the group as a whole is being mentioned, then it will act like a collective noun and it will take a singular verb. But in the group, if something is divided, or we mean individual people there in the group, then the collective noun will take a plural verb. We are going to see examples of that. A single unit will take a singular verb. We know that. Referring to individuals, any point of time, we are using a collective noun, but we are referring to individuals or parts of the group, then we have to take a plural verb. So the meaning is very important when we are using collective nouns. Let us understand how. Look at this example. The team is heading for the airport. What do we mean here? The team means the team has members. So here we are not referring to them separately. We are not individually treating them, or we are not referring to them. We are talking about them as a whole. The entire team. What is the team doing? The team is heading for the airport. Therefore, we have taken a singular noun because collective nouns in general take singular verbs. But let us see the next example. The team are eating with their families. What do we mean here? Why have we taken are here? In the previous sentence, we have used team, and with that we have used a singular verb. But why are we using are here? That is because when we are talking about the team here, we are talking about the individual members of the team because we have some more information which tells us about their individuality. What is it? Eating with their families. So now the team is not acting as a team. The team is there with their family. The team has, the team members. We are talking about the team members. We are not talking about the team itself. The team means the members of the team. Here the team means the members of the team. That the members of the team are eating with their families. This is what we want to communicate. But by saying team, we are saying the whole thing in a nutshell. But we want to refer to the members. Okay? So the team are eating. It will take plural verb because they have their families also. One team member will have their families also. So they are eating with their families. That is what we mean here. Let's take another example. The committee has issued a report. What does this sentence mean? The committee means there is a committee. We are talking about a single committee and it has got members. But we are not talking about the individual members. We are talking about the committee as a whole. All the members put together, they have come together and the committee has issued a report. That entire team, that committee has issued a report. Therefore, with committee as collective noun, as a singular entity, therefore, we have taken a singular verb. But in the next sentence, the committee are divided on one minor point. Now look at this sentence. We have to understand the meaning. That's what we said. Now, suddenly the committee is there, but we have used a plural verb here. Why? Because we can see that they are divided. So the committee is now not acting as a team. It is being divided. They have different opinions on a particular point. That means the members are not together. So now we are referring to the members individually. We want to say there are groups of members who are divided. Therefore, it means something plural to us. Now, in that case, again here, by committee, we want to say we are talking about the members. Members are divided. We are talking about the members of the committee who are divided on one minor point. Therefore, we have taken a plural verb. I hope you are able to understand. So, the meaning is important. What are we trying to say? Are they together or are they separated? Are they acting, whatever the sentence is being told, is it acting as a singular entity? If yes, then it will take a singular verb. If they're not acting as a singular entity, they're doing different things. It is a singular entity. But within that entity, they have different opinions. Or they have formed groups. Then what does it mean? We are talking about the members individually. Therefore, it will take plural verb. Let us move on. This is another example. A pack of dogs were seen running across the door. Pack of dogs is a collective noun. Now, when we say pack of dogs, it should be is. A pack of dogs is seen. But we have used were here because what happens when a pack of dogs comes? You must have seen that they don't come in the formation of a group. They're not always together. We can see that it's a pack, but sometimes they run helter-skelter here and there. So individually they are coming, but they are a part of a pack. Therefore, here again we mean the dogs separately as members of the pack. Okay. Therefore, we have taken were here. But if you see the second example, a flock of pelicans arrives every winter. Now, if you've seen pelicans arriving, if you've seen migratory birds arriving, they fly absolutely in a formation and as a group. They are never away. They can never be put apart from each other. So they are always in a group. Therefore, since they're acting as a singular entity, we have used singular verb here. A flock of pelicans arrives every winter. So you have to think in your mind whether you can visualize them. It is very important to visualize the sentence. These two sentences are examples of how we can visualize and then understand whether they are acting as members separately or they are acting as a group, as an entity. Okay, let's see another example. the population of the city is increasing. This is another example. What do we mean by this? We mean that there is a city. What do we mean by population? The people inside a city. Now, the population of the city means that all the people that taken together, the entire population is increasing. But in the second sentence, again, understand the meaning. We have taken a plural verb here after population, but in this we have not. Why have we done that? The population are diverged in their opinion. So after using the collective noun population, what are we actually conveying? We are conveying that they are diverged. So that means they are not in a group. They are not acting as an entity. They have different opinions. Therefore, the verb will become plural. Okay? So are you able to understand what I'm trying to tell? Okay, let's move on. Okay, great. We just finished learning about indefinite pronouns, determiners, conjunctions, and how we need to identify which type of verb, singular or plural, is going to be used after a singular or a plural subject. But now what we are going to learn is about certain nouns which are always plural. They always appear to be plural to us because they have two parts to it. Can you guess some of those nouns? Can you think of those nouns, those objects or things that have two parts to them? So once you know, once you can identify those objects or things, you will know that these objects are always treated as plural nouns, and obviously they are going to take plural verbs. Okay. So while you guess, let me show you some of them. So now see these nouns: scissors, tweezers, trousers, pants, glasses, goggles, clothes, headphones. You can obviously visualize them that they have got two parts to them. Okay, the scissor would have two hands. Tweezers also have two hands. Trousers, you will have two legs to a single trouser or pant. But we don't say that. We say trousers. We say pants. Glasses. You can see I'm wearing one of these. Now, obviously, it has got two circular discs and it has two parts to it. Therefore, they fall under the category of plural nouns. Similar way, clothes and headphones. Okay. So remember, all these nouns are going to take plural verbs all the time. Okay. So let's find out some sentences. How can we construct sentences with them and use them with plural verbs? So check out this. How much do these goggles cost? How much do these goggles cost? Which is the verb here? Do. And goggles is the subject or the noun. So goggles here is a plural noun which has taken a plural verb, do. We are not saying how much does this goggle cost. We don't say goggle, we say goggles. How much do these goggles cost? Same way, my pants need repairing. It is not that my pant needs repairing. My pants need repairing. So remember to use them as plural nouns and use plural verbs with them. Let's see another very important thing. There are certain nouns which are plural in form. That means they look like plural, but actually they are singular in meaning. What am I talking about? Can you think of? Some nouns which are plural, which look like plural, but they essentially mean something that is singular. And therefore, because the meaning is singular, as we learnt before, it has to take a singular verb. Can you think of such nouns? Let's find out. Read the sentence. Physics is an interesting subject. When we are saying physics, it's physic is a word and it ends in S, and we say it for the term. It is a study of materials. It is a branch of science which is also a noun, which is a proper noun, and it ends with S, so it looks like plural, but it is a singular subject. Therefore, it has taken a singular verb. Physics is an interesting subject. Okay, mathematics and physics. When I'm saying mathematics, mathematics also is a noun that looks like plural, but it is in meaning singular. But when we talk of physics and mathematics together, we are talking about two separate singular nouns. Okay, so physics and mathematics, then we are going to take a plural verb because we are talking about two singular nouns with a conjunction that makes the subject plural, and therefore we are going to take a plural verb. So mathematics and physics are my favorite subjects. Let's check another example. There is the news about the fire. News, the word news looks like plural because it ends with S, but it is not a plural subject, it is a singular subject. Therefore, we are always, whenever we are talking about news, it has to take a singular verb. There is the news about the fire. Another example, measles. It is the name of a disease which ends with S and looks like plural, but it is not plural. It is a singular subject. Again, it is a singular name. Measles affects children. Affects. We are not saying affect because it is not a plural subject and we are not going to use the plural verb. We are going to use the singular verb which is affect with an S. Therefore, measles affects children more than adults. Okay? Now, let's move on. Now we are going to talk about certain nouns which are singular in form but plural in meaning. That means exactly what we discussed earlier, the opposite of that. Earlier we discussed about nouns that are plural in form but singular in meaning. Now we are going to discuss about nouns that are singular in form but plural in meaning. Can you think of such nouns? And what do you think the verb would be? Shall we use a singular verb or a plural verb in such cases? So if you can remember whatever we discussed, meaning is important. So if the noun is plural in meaning, we have to use a plural verb. Let us see some examples. Their cattle graze along our maize field every day. So when we talk about cattle, we are talking about the animals that form the cattle. And therefore, we are essentially talking about the animals. And therefore, it is going to take a plural verb. Cattle is a plural noun and it's going to take a plural verb. Again, people. People means we are talking about obviously plural number of persons. So people are migrating to cooler places. People is a wrong way to speak. So we must understand which are the words that mean something plural and which are the words that mean something singular. Okay, another very important thing is that we had been discussing about the verbs agreeing with the subject, but we must also remember that the pronouns must also agree with the subject. So remember to check that the pronoun agrees with the person, number, and gender. So gender is also important. If you're talking about a he, and then we can't use a pronoun later on where I'm talking about her. Okay, if I want to mean the same person, he will take his, she will take her. So later on, whenever, apart from the subject, whenever we are repeating, we are referring to the subject again with the help of a pronoun, that must agree with the gender which was used earlier and also with the person and number. So let us see an example of that. Every person tries. What are we going to use here? Every person tries his, her, their, which one? Best to succeed. So let me tell you, earlier it was like a very normal thing to represent the men whenever we are referring to any random person. So earlier we used to say every person tries his best to succeed. But now we are accepting gender neutrality. Therefore, we are going to talk about their, which means, which includes his, her, both, which talks about the men and women both. So every person tries their best to succeed in this case. Let us see here. All passengers were required to show. We are talking about passengers. So when we are talking about passengers, it is a plural number of person, and therefore it is the pronoun representing these people should also become plural, like in this case. Yes, in this case we meant every single person. So ideally we should have used a his or her, but since we don't want to represent people by the name of their gender, because we are accepting gender neutrality, therefore we have used their. But in this case, passengers clearly is a plural subject, and therefore it has to take a plural pronoun, which is their. Okay. So I think we are done and dusted with all that we needed to know about subject-verb agreement. And let us now, rewind and just check out, go through all the presentations, go through all the videos, and try to find out if you have any doubts. In case you have any doubts, please reach out to me, write on the comment section, so that I can, once again, I'm reiterating my words that I would love to clarify your doubts. I would want that you make no mistakes in subject-verb agreement henceforth, because this is a very important topic, and once you have learned these, you would easily understand that there are so many people around you who you would find that they're just not following, or they don't have any clue about subject-verb agreement while speaking in English. So that will give you an edge over them. And not only that, I don't want anyone to, not understand this, because this is not a very difficult thing. If you are interested in learning English, you must learn this. And in case you want to communicate or write properly in English, you must understand this. So let's hope that all the doubts are cleared, and I will come back with another very important topic very soon. So till then, goodbye and have a great day.